Advanced Follow is the most difficult trigger in Geometry Dash, or is it? Answering this question isn't as simple as you think, and you'll see why. But first, what even is Advanced Follow? It's split across 3 triggers, a main one, an edit trigger, and a retarget trigger. The main one's the toughest to use, but it basically moves the target group to its center group's location. Your center group must have one object or a parent group in it, and you can set it to a player icon or the bottom left of the screen. You can modify the trigger's priority in relation to other Advanced Follows, and make it the only one that can affect your target group. You can set movements to only the X or Y axis, ignore objects that are toggled off, and choose if objects rotate towards the center, which lets you use rotation offset, easing, and dead zone options. Next, choose a follow type, standard, accelerated, or complex. Standard Follow lets you delay the movement start, set a max speed and range, and give the movements an easing. The box next to max range should set a third group as the range center, but this doesn't really work right now. Accelerated Follow lets you control acceleration, friction, start speed, and start direction. The box next to start speed works as a multiplier, and the one next to start direction sets a group to initially point to. Near Desk sets a range where your target is near the center, and you can change acceleration and friction within that range. When using this and the next follow type, you can use these checkboxes to only use start speed and direction on objects without velocity, set their current velocity to those values, or add them to their current velocity. Complex Follow controls rotation and torque, so think of it like driving a car. Steer Force controls how fast objects turn towards the center. You can randomize the steer direction with the target direction checkbox, and enable these checkboxes to set steer ranges depending on the target speed. It's like how you can't make tight turns when driving fast, so you brake to turn faster. Speaking of braking, brake force decelerates your object when your center changes direction, and that comes with a brake steer force, steering speed limit, and brake angle to set the angle objects drift towards. Slow Dis and Slow SL set a range from the center to decelerate your objects, like near friction did before. You can also add randomness to any values with a plus or minus slider next to them. And while I've covered a lot of stuff right now, there's still a secret button later which makes this all far easier. After all that, you're probably thinking, there's no way this isn't the hardest trigger to use, but there's much more to this. For one, Advanced Follow is the only trigger that lets you hide options you don't want to use. Everything else throws lots of stuff right in your face, so you can't take your time digesting each feature like you can here. Also, note how many of these features exist in other triggers. The basic concept is like the Move trigger's target mode, rotation is the same as the Rotate trigger's aim mode, and Standard Follow is identical to how you use the Follow Player Y trigger. These repeats make it far easier to use, and complex options are usually related to the simpler ones. If you understand the objects can speed up, slow down, and turn around, then you can learn each follow mode by changing one option at a time and seeing what changes. Once you've learned the trigger, you'll have 3 big ways to use in levels, one for each follow mode. Most triggers only have one main use, which you combine with other triggers. Okay bro. So while Advanced Follow is tougher to use than most triggers, it's nowhere near the hardest. Area triggers have 10 big ways to use them because of their proximity options, and sound effects probably have hundreds of uses thanks to the sound effect library. Both of these are used more often than Advanced Follow, and you'll need less intuitive knowledge for them than basic physics. You can't just observe real life to generate sounds or visuals as easily as you can with Advanced Follow. Then again, we haven't looked at every Advanced Follow option yet, including that secret button I mentioned earlier. Let's take a look at them before jumping to any conclusions. Edit Advanced Follow takes the same target group as the main trigger and changes its settings. You can set it to only X or Y movement and change the speed, direction, and rotate direction as before. X and Y mods multiply movements just like in the Follow trigger. Target Control ID uses the Control ID system to choose which Advanced Follow triggers to edit instead of targeting each one of your target group. If you need to change the groups for your Advanced Follow, you can do so with the Retarget trigger. The target group is the current target group, and the follow group should be the new target group. Control ID is the same as before. So Advanced Follow might still keep its spot as the toughest trigger, even with how relatively intuitive physics is when compared to other required knowledge. But there's still one feature left that completely trivializes the trigger, the preset button. With one click, you can instantly set up the complex follow option, and even with only 2 presets, it still saves lots of time. This single button lowers a lot of the trigger's difficulty. It's still tough, but certainly not the hardest in my opinion. Even though it has a lot of options to configure, you don't need to set them all up at once. A little physics knowledge will take you a long way, and you can just ignore half of the options anyways. You can't do that with area triggers or sound effects, but there are guides on those and other triggers in our Discord server, which you should join through the link below.